Hey everybody, let's check out today's daily. I wonder if we're going to get any more of the rising sun flavor. Yes, awesome. Okay, so here's a quick look at the kingdom overall. The only trashing I see here is in cemetery. Grave robber, nah. Grave robber's a cool card. Okay, so cemetery. Can gain that and then trash up to 4 cards from hand. Let's take a look at this. Yeah, that's the one I thought it was. So we're going to get overrun with coppers when that gets unlocked, if we don't have a way of controlling things. So the existence of bureaucracy makes me lean hard into poet, because poet can draw all those extra coppers. There's no village. There's plus buy in nomads, grand market, and traveling fair. Although I don't see us getting to a point where we can spend enough to really get to take advantage of the traveling fair plus buys. Maybe I'm wrong. Oh, fishmonger has plus buy. Candlestick maker has plus buy. So what am I doing here? This might be oh, I do have a village. I have Necropolis. That honestly might not be. I think that's a non-trivial thing to consider. If I had to play with some terminals, I'm looking at grave robber, fishmonger, and cavalry. So fishmonger, even if we only choose 2 terminals to play every turn, we can still throw 1 or 2 more fishmongers in the deck, because they can be, because they're shadow cards, they can avoid collision more easily. The problem with fishmonger, well, I don't know. As long as we play around trying to not draw them, they might be all right. Do we have? We start with haunted mirror. Oh, haunted mirror could become a ghost, which is a village. So what am I? I think leaning hard into poet for draw. But are we actually going to be able to draw enough to buy provinces? Maybe at some point we get lucky and can get a big cemetery boost. Like I'm worried that with bureaucracy, without, is there a way to gain cemetery? The only way I can see that, if we grave robber the necropolis, we can gain the cemetery and then trash everything in our hand. But that's not something that seems terribly reliable. I don't see a way of discarding Faithful Hound for any effect. Yeah, this might be just sort of a finicky, like, if we start getting overloaded with coppers, there aren't a huge number of gains here. We could, if we play a cavalry after bureaucracy is unlocked, we're gaining 2 horses and 2 coppers. So is this game even going to end on provinces? It's going to start to become very difficult to hit 8. Weird, weird, weird. Okay, so Poet can also draw silvers, so I don't feel so bad adding a silver to the deck right now. Are we ever going to get to a point where we can add like multiple grave robbers and trash them into provinces? Man. Yeah, I don't have like much to say here other than Poet, a lot of them. But you know, we're probably only gaining one at a time. That seems pretty sad. Maybe at some point throw in a fishmonger. Fishmonger's also good for sort of topping up your money into price points. I have a bad feeling about this kingdom, but let's just get going. Yeah, so they take a fishmonger instead of silver. Not unreasonable. But like, I mean, Fishmonger is a card that can guarantee you hitting 5 on the second shuffle. But I don't see a 5er that's like terribly necessary. Tormentor might actually be okay here. It should be fairly easy to activate to get the Imp. I should have thought about this earlier. We should be able to get the Imp out of this, and then we can always Imp Fishmonger. Yeah, maybe I should have tried for that. I mean, the Fishmonger is going to be good to have pretty much always. If we hit 5 here, I think we should. Oh, 6 even. So they've taken another Poet. Imp is practically a Poet for us. But Tormentor is such a weak card. I could Traveling Fair a Poet here. If I Traveling Fair a Poet, I mean, all of my cards cost 3 or less right now. So Poets are guaranteed labs. I could potentially, if I hit 6 again next turn, I could go Poet Fishmonger. I could Traveling Fair the Cavalry, and I believe with the ordering of this, yeah, I could put the Cavalry on top first and then play it. But Poet is, ooh, Poet can also pick up horses. I could Cemetery and trash 3 cards. That's effectively trashing only 2 cards. Poet will miss the shuffle because of the Overgrown Estate. I think I'm just going to top deck a Poet. Tormentor. Is this Imp? Like the Imp... The Imp is no better than... drawing 2 cards. So right now the Imp isn't actually better than Poet. I'm just going to top deck. I wonder if getting gold is even worth it because of our money density is going to level off at 1 pretty much when Bureaucracy gets unlocked, and you know I'm probably going to top deck a Poet, probably, in which case we both have 2 Poets. This is going to get unlocked very quickly. So our money density is like, we're going to be completely filled with coppers very soon. Grave Robber, yeah, Grave Robber is just such a good card overall. I hit 6 or 7. I don't want to draw this Fishmonger in my hand. What can I do with 7? I mean, I can top deck a Poet again. Bureaucracy is getting unlocked next turn. Is it worth it for me to trash 1, 2? Is it worth me to trash these cards? So what is Grave Robber even going to target right now? Poets can become grand markets. Maybe that's the play. So 7, I can top deck Grave Robber. I have Necropolis down there, so that's a guaranteed trash. Necropolis can become a Poet. It's +3, right? And it goes on to your deck. So Necropolis can become a Poet. And in the future, Poets can become grand markets. What else is down there? 3 coppers and Necropolis. So that would be my turn. What would I take on 3? Probably another silver. I think that's what I'm going to do. Okay, there's Bureaucracy. They Grave Robber Necropolis into Poet. That's exactly what I'm going to do. They had a better turn though, because they actually played some Poets. And they bought yet another Poet. Yeah. So Grave Robber, trash Necro into Poet. Comes with a copper. Am I buying another Fishmonger or a silver? How many cards do I have now? I'm about to have 17 cards. I obviously want to make sure I never actually draw into Fishmongers. I think I'm going to make this a silver. It can be drawn by Poet. Yeah, let's just see what goes on here. Okay, 5 or 6. I really don't want the AI to get the last 2 Poets. I think I really need to contest those. And my Fishmonger here could top deck. I could call the Fishmonger. I could play the Fishmonger. It's kind of like the Tavern Man, right? With reserve cards. Okay, I could play the Fishmonger, top deck a Poet, and then it's very likely that my grave robber could trash a poet into Grand Market. Is that even the move though? Should I be poet into Grand Market? Probably. What did they take there? They buy another grave robber, so it looks like they want to go grave robber stuff into provinces. I would love to be able to get this last poet. 1, 2, 5, 6. I've got 6. Grave robber on top. So I'm the grave robber is definitely not grave robber is definitely not actually doing anything. You know what I could do is just stop here, top deck another poet, and then my grave robber can go poet. And if I top deck a poet, then that grave robber definitely has one to mess with. It gives me the last poet here. It would also be nice at some point to get a second grave robber. Even though we don't have village anymore, if we can trash poet, and so here's the thing, I don't know if I want to make the first move of trashing poet into Grand Market, because then the AI's grave robber can steal the poets in the trash. So I have 7 here. No, I have, I have 6 in hand. If I play this poet, I've lost track of my deck, but I probably draw a copper. But does 7 actually do anything for me? I think I'm just going to do the same and top deck this poet. Okay. Plays poet. Plays grave robber for no effect, and they bought yet another grave robber. So how do they plan on lining up these grave robbers consistently? I really am worried about giving them access to my poet. So what I could do here, I could grave rob this poet into a Grand Market. The Grand Market goes on top. I would buy a fishmonger, because I feel now the deck is big enough that we can always play the fishmonger without fear of drawing it. But if I grave rob this poet, they are almost certainly going to steal it. I don't know. I feel like I might even need to start greening as early as this shuffle. The Grand Market will certainly help with that on the next turn, as will the fishmonger. I think this is the move. We're going to grave rob the poet into Grand Market, buy a fishmonger, and next turn we're going to get province if we can. And we can. Wait, oh, the grave robber doesn't go, the Grand Market doesn't go on top. It's when you gain from the trash. So what did they do? They trashed a grave robber into Grand Market. Yeah. Yeah, so I think I'm going to play the fishmonger and province, because it's going to start getting very difficult to ever hit 8. And I'm hoping that they have a lot of difficulty lining up their grave robbers with other 5s. 4. So there's a poet down there, meaning next turn my fishmongers will definitely be bottom decked and available to play. I still feel like another fishmonger might not be the worst thing, but maybe I should do something about pumping up my money. I'm disappointed in myself that I screwed up the way that Grave Robber top decks things. It doesn't top deck the gained card if you trash and gain. It didn't. I don't think it ended up mattering. Well, maybe it did. I would have had an extra fishmonger here. So I have... When did they get a new fishmonger sometime? I think I only have 2, but there's 4 missing from the pile. So this for me is going to be either fishmonger or silver. I have 3 fishmongers already. Sorry, I have 2 already. I've got like 27 cards in deck. So the extra fishmonger is hardly hardly at risk of collision. But the silver can be drawn by poet and will hopefully help us hit a higher price at some point. I think I'll take the silver. Okay. They take back their Grave Robber. They take a cemetery. That seems bad. Gaining the Grave Robber back from the dead seems perfectly reasonable. Gaining a cemetery without trashing anything seems bad. I don't know why they're doing that. So hopefully here we can have a really strong turn. 5, 6, 7, 8. Do I draw on? Almost certainly. If we draw tons more money, we can fishmonger for more buys. Okay. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'm going to buy a province and another fishmonger. We're getting to a point where we might actually be worried about collision of the fishmongers, though. Well, this fishmonger is not going in the deck. I'm playing Grave Robber for sure next turn. I think we're okay. I think we can balance out these fishmongers. Plus, I'm playing one, right? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Province, fishmonger. Okay, yep. They go Grave Robber, trash Grave Robber into province. Buy gold. So now I'm playing the Grave Robber for sure. Am I gaining the poet or the Grave Robber? I think I will gain the Grave Robber from the trash. Simply having more ways of hitting, of trashing into province should be good. And then I'm just going to sort of pray that they don't Grave Robber to steal this poet. And when I play that Grave Robber on my next turn, hopefully I can steal the poet. Or is there any sense in playing the fishmonger to hit 5 right now? I don't think so. Let's gain you. So that's a copper on top. No, it's not. That's the grave robber on top. And what am I buying? I think silver. Yeah, they're going for duchies already. And this is like this. I suspect this game is going to end on like duchies are going to run. We might not empty provinces, although I'm hoping to sneak out as many provinces as possible. So let's gain this poet and another silver. I'm hoping that my poet plays will just squeak us over into province territory before our deck gets totally destroyed. 7. So this is province here, right? Oh, excellent. Trash the hovel. And like I think I'm in. I mean, they have more golds. They've got. We're even on grave robbers. I think we're approximately even on poets. I think I just play through this poet, and this grave robber might be sad. So I could duchy, which I think I should do. Eventually, we're going to be trashing poets into duchy. It's going to be very difficult for anyone to hit 8 anymore. I might do it here. They get it. 5, 6, 7, 8. So they now have the penultimate province shenanigans to worry about. Okay. Let's think. Is there anything in the trash? There's a poet in the trash. So I can guarantee myself a duchy. Ooh, they went duchy and estate. How did they do that? Grave robber, poet, and a duchy, and buy an estate. I mean, I can do the same. So there is a danger for me now in buying a province. I can grave robber, poet into duchy and gain a cemetery. But I think it might be nice to play the poet. If I play the poet, I almost certainly hit at least 5. So I would take a duchy, and I would grave robber, top deck a poet. What is the chance that I play this poet and do not draw at least 1 coin? Well, worst in that case, compromise is I buy a cemetery. And then poet, top deck, or grave robber, top deck a poet. Okay. Oh man, I could buy a province here. But again, if I province, oh, they have a grave robber here in their discard. Should I risk it? They have a grave robber in discard. So the only things they can trash in a province right now, they would need their graveyard and grand market in hand. And then they would need to buy an estate. Look at the size of their deck. I have not been tracking whether they played grand market. or anything like that. So I think I'm fairly safe buying a province here. And then we just need to take as many alternate green cards as we can. Okay, so hopefully this doesn't come back and bite me, but we're going to take the province. It's somewhat of a calculated risk, right? One of their graveyards or grave robbers is in the discard. The only way they can grave robber into a province is if they line up grave robber and grand market, and look at the size of their deck. That's my reasoning here. Okay, cemetery, very happy about that. So I have 5 in hand. This is duchy for sure. Honestly, this game's gotten a little bit suspenseful. Ooh, they almost hit. Okay, duchy and estate. So this might do it for me. Nope. So 6, 7. Should I should probably play this and go duchy estate. That puts it so it's nice that the duchies are completely out now. They can't do anything with that. Oh, the coppers ended. Oh, wow. Oh, man. That was not on my radar at all. I mean, how often do you look at the copper pile unless you're actively driving it down with something funny? Okay, but that's a good thing to remember in the future is bureaucracy can very well make the copper pile empty. Yeah. I mean, I think I mostly played this one fairly well. There might have been some times when I should have taken a grave robber instead of top decking a poet or something like that. Grave robber is just such a strong card when it comes to giving you the options to do things. The problem with grave robber on this board is when you're flooded with coppers, it's going to be so difficult to line up your grave robber with something that you want to trash for benefit. So, I mean, I trashed a poet into a grand market. The AI trashed a grave robber into a grand market. And I think they might have trashed something into province at some point. I don't remember exactly. But there was not a lot of trash for benefit with the grave robbers. The other reason why it's nice to have more grave robbers than your opponent is it's kind of like with lurkers. If you have one lurker and your opponent has one lurker, you don't want to take the first move because they snatch the thing from the trash. And I mean, if you have one lurker and your opponent has 2 lurkers, it's like a really bad move for you to actually end up using them. Obviously, it's different with grave robber because you put something in the trash, you still get the benefit of that. But I mean, I was nervous here. At the time when I had 1 grave robber and the AI had 3, I was really nervous about trashing my poet into grand market because then I have essentially no chance at recovering my grave robber food from the trash. They had so many more that it's very likely they see one before I see one again. Anyway, didn't end up mattering. I was surprised at how many provinces I was able to get in this kingdom. I thought the province pile might end up with 3 left, 3 or 4, something like that. I probably got a little bit lucky a few times in being able to. I mean, you saw the power of Fishmonger. There were many times when having some Fishmongers in the deck allowed me to spike up to 6 or to 8 coin. I don't know if the gold is that good in this kingdom. It can't be drawn by poet, and I don't know. I think this might be one of these very rare kingdoms where it's kind of nicer to have silver than gold, or even having 2 silvers over a gold because you're drawing it with poet. I don't know. But yeah, this was a little bit. I was kind of a little bit nervous at the end. they seemed they were able to get more points on like turn 16, 17, maybe even earlier than I thought they'd be able to. Yeah, I wonder, how did the poet split end up? 5 and 4. Yeah, this is another thing that seems bizarre to me. I don't know why they were getting cemeteries if they weren't using it to trash. I guess because they thought like they had these might have been like desperation point gains, and maybe they figured they weren't going to come around to their shuffle again to see it. But yeah, okay. So biggest thing I learned in this one is the bureaucracy makes the coppers run. So that's I had no idea this. I didn't clue in that this would be the third pile. I was pretty sure poet, obviously, and I was pretty sure duchy was going to run. I didn't know what the third pile was going to be, but obviously it's coppers in this situation. Cool kingdom, fun. Thanks for watching. See you all tomorrow.